The following is an interview I had with agripreneur Alpha Sennon, creator of the character AGRIMAN. Greetings, listenership. Welcome to TLC Tropical Literature Creatives, the podcast where we interview authors of Caribbean heritage about themselves and their literary works. Today we have with us the audacious Alpha Sennon, speaker of agri-businessman, as well as a number of other titles. So welcome to the program, Alpha.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin, for having me, and greetings to all the listeners out there.
All right, Alpha, what we usually ask, or what I usually ask persons when it is that they come to the program, you could say it's sort of like a opportunity for tourism. Imagine that you're at the airport and we encounter each other. I'm coming to Trinidad for the first time and we meet each other. What would you recommend that I try when I come to Trinidad?
Well, immediately when you reach to Trinidad, I think you have to I think you need to go to Cuba and try some sauce doubles. you just need to go and try that doubles immediately. And you need a local person to show you how to eat the doubles as well, too.
Not just the doubles, but how to eat the doubles.
Yeah, eating it like a sandwich is not it. Eating it the proper way, that is how you just taste the doubles properly.
Yeah. I mean, between you and I, I've seen a lot of videos where persons think that a doubles is a sandwich, but it's not a sandwich. It's a separate meal altogether.
Correct.
All right. Well, having asked that question, let me ask a bit about yourself. I mean, some of your accomplishments are really interesting, but I have to ask a bit about your background. Like, what was your education like?
Yeah, so I attended the Hyderabad Secondary Composite School. I was doing did sciences. When got about like full passes certificate. Then went on to was doing sciences. Then went on to UE doing sciences, well, math and physics. Didn't complete any of those majors. At a time in my life there, I kind of stopped connecting with that, and I think I was searching for my purpose and my passion. And then I tried IT. I was just trying. And then I came out of that after one semester, and then the dean told me to try agribusiness. So I want to say, and the agribusiness was when I really caught that fire and started to grow and started to develop. I connected to my purpose, from a professional point of view, right? But again, my background, it speaks to all which I went through. The math, physics, the science. I even did OJT teaching for like about 2 terms in our primary school, the teaching, the education. Steel pan. I grew up in the pan yard, playing pan, Panama, playing pan all year round. I in primary school, I remember singing calypso. So when I think about my background, all that makes up my background. And of course, growing up on a, well, in a household where agriculture is a chore. You had to go out and tie the goats, you had to water the crops before you go to school, you had to see about the dog, feed the dog before you go to school. All that makes up my background of who I am today.
You spoke about a lot of things that I could identify with. This is the first time I'm telling persons that, there was a time when I had to get up and go out and tie goats too. It's a Caribbean thing, like you say, agriculture is part of our background and it's something that we could identify with. I really think that you're an interesting individual because there's a part of me that thinks, here's what, we could stop this interview, just look at the TED Talk. I think the TED Talk says, pretty much everything because we see everything there. We see the pan, we see you presenting. I mean, there's a little calypsonian in there too, I must say, and it's really interesting. And it really speaks volumes as to the skills that you bring to the table, not just as an agri-farmer, but also as an individual and as an ambassador of sorts for agriculture and also for Trinidad.
Yeah, man.
I want us to talk a little bit about the TED Talk because I looked at it and when I watched, I personally was blown away because what I like about it, you don't just go on and on, you quote figures, you give statistics. And I think those things speak volumes. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So, we were contacted to do a TED Talk in TEDx Amsterdam, which is one of the premier TEDx stages in Europe, actually, the
Mm-hmm.
highly attended and one of the biggest shows that they put on.
Yes.
So we wanted to not just do the normal and just go and give a talk and people clap after, but we wanted to bring Trinbago to the stage. We
Mm-hmm.
wanted to use our agri-edutainment
So can you repeat
mantra.
that? Can you repeat that word, please? Agri?
Agri-edutainment,
My,
agricultural, educational entertainment.
my goodness.
That is what Y-Farm is built upon, using those tools to be able to communicate to audiences.
Mm-hmm.
So we developed the performance around Y-Farm, like getting to the point of creating Y-Farm, but sort of getting to the point of as well of answering Y-Farm and why it's important for people to understand the question, not the organization, I would say, but the question that why should we farm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and explaining that to young people and getting them to understand their why in agriculture. So, of course, being the Trinbagonian performers that we are, we took steel pan to the stage. My brother performed the steel pan, Alpha Sennon. We had our Agriman mascot joining on the stage as well in full costume. So that people could understand, wow, it's a real superhero in real life that is going to change the world and change the way young people see agriculture. So it was amazing in front of literally thousands of people. We were able to bring Trinbago to the stage and be, and not, as you said, these sort of ambassadors for culture and agriculture at the international stage, and hopefully bring people to Trinidad as well too. Of course, notwithstanding the understanding the innovation that is behind our mantra or our work at Y-Farm. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I want to talk about is you quoted like some figures in the talk, and I really think a person should know some of these things. You were indicating that the average age of farmers in the Caribbean, and in particular Trinidad and Tobago, 60 years old. That's 60. How? That's the age that persons usually retire at.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? We are yet to like bridge the gap, with young farmers replacing the older farmers. So for some time throughout the sector within the years, our farmers have literally been 60 years and increasing, right? I think it has to do a lot with like retirement. So it's like a lot of people, when they do get retired, maybe then they go into agriculture, but it isn't your working class, which is like, within 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, it's within that age. We're not getting young people going into the profession of agriculture. So on stage at the TEDx, I was able to really dive deep into understanding the figures, So like, I think I mentioned that farmers are 60 years and increasing, and the 5-year-olds and the 10-year-olds today, they are the ones, by the year 2050, because by the year 2050, there's expected to be 9 billion people on Earth. And the question still remains, who is going to feed these 9 billion people? Because by the year 2050, those 60-year-olds will be 90-something. They will be retired and deceased. So if our young people today, so even our 30-year-olds today, they will be expected to be retired by that year. So it's our 10-year-olds today are the ones who will be the working class by 2050. And they are the target audience for Y-Farm. They are the ones that we place emphasis on, and we are religiously working on them so that they could transition and they could adopt the culture of agriculture.
And I really like that. I mean, the thing is, in your TED Talk as well, I keep on referring to that because if I didn't say it before, I'm going to say it again. It blew my mind because of the figures, etc. I mean, you identify the really high food import bills that we have. And sometimes I'm wondering, I mean, how are we going to solve this problem? And there it is, you go on to say, here's what, you want to target a particular group of persons. You want to start with changing the minds of a particular group of persons. And with targeting the minds, targeting this particular age group, your organization seems to intends to bring about change. Tell us a bit about Y-Farms and tell us a bit about Y-Farms.
Yeah, so Y Farm is a local NGO that was founded in 2015 with the mantra of pioneering agricultural educational entertainment to ensure our young people can participate and live in a food and nutrition secure world.
Yes,
So we build out and develop different programs, different curriculums to not only stand as an educational campaign per se, but an actual training and capacity building entity and also inspirational entity and motivational entity to really attract and encourage and activate the necessary actions coming out of young people. So for very long, we knew that agriculture is something that they could do. But what Y Farm brings to the table is it showcases, well, why it's important, one. And two, how, in terms of what does the value chain looks like? How do we get food onto the shelf, right? The amount of different processes that it takes to get there, the amount of different professions that it takes to get there, the amount of skills that it takes. And then we showcase to these young people that, hey, you may not want to be a farmer planting, but you could be part of the chain in manufacturing, processing, distributing, transporting, doing the health analysis in a lab, packaging at the facility, processing, even prior to actual farming too. Because what does the agricultural value chain looks like from the crop to the shop? From the mud to the market, there's so much different layers there that one can engage in to be able to be part of agriculture, right? So we at Y Farm, we tend to sensitize people about this. And of course, one of the ways which we use to sensitize them is we realized that there must be an adventure to encourage youth in agriculture, starting with our main character, who's branded as the world's most powerful food provider. Agriman. Agriman would say this: boys and girls, I'm the Agriman. To feed the world is my master plan. If you plant one tree, you could eat for free. This will guarantee food security. From field to farm, let's let it sprout. Soon we'll see an end to drought. Once we all grow what we need, soon the whole world we can feed. An Agriman would say, plant one tree, you'll eat for free. That will guarantee food security. So we created the Agriman Ag Ventures, which consists of Agriman, his female companion, photosynthesister, Agribots, and of course different villains. And we showcase real life stories somewhat of how we are our own enemies regarding food, regarding soil, regarding climate change, regarding, you name it, and tell these stories in a comic book. So we go around to schools, schools visit us on the farm, we do camps, we develop community gardens, we do agripreneurship training, we have programs such as the Agripreneur Mastermind Program, we have the Teenage Agripreneur Boot Camp, we have the AMP Up, the Agripreneur Mastermind Program is finding TNT's next step agripreneur, so we work with different companies to develop agricultural solutions for communities, or more like agribusiness solutions rather. At our farm, we have our 15-acre farm. We grow produce, and we supply supermarkets, we supply to people doorsteps, we supply to school feeding, So we create employment, a lot of employment. And schools visit us, so we do a lot of agritourism. We do trainings on the farm. Our farm is not only as for production, but also for training, right? And inspiration and motivation. Because one thing is just to tell people like, hey, go and do it or do this. People must be inspired. They must be motivated. They must be encouraged. So Y Farm is that pill that you come and take, to be inspired, to be encouraged to go and do it, to be brave. Because it's not easy to, your grandfather leave piece of land for you. You're watching that land and that bush and that forest and wondering, we are going and start, boy. It's not easy. So Y Farm is where you come and you get that strength and that energy and that motivation that, hey, you could do it. People before you did it, you could do it. He who feeds you controls you, so you must control yourself. You must feed yourself,
Yes,
So
yeah.
we get deep into changing the mindset and changing the way in which people look at food and agriculture, you know, and we are a source of inspiration for young men, young women, the Afro-Trinbago community as well too, to be encouraged to do this, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yes, we went through slavery and they bring us here anyways, agriculture, they were doing with us on the
Mm-hmm.
plantation. But I always say, ask yourself, why did they choose agriculture? You know, why did they choose agriculture? Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
Why did they choose agriculture? And then the agriculture that they did, yes, it was via slavery, but didn't it build their empires?
Yeah.
Didn't it build their buildings? Didn't it build their economy? So if we can reverse that now and use it to build ours now without slavery, you know, of course, without
Yeah.
slavery,
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
we can, you know, food. You know, food has always been able to set us free
Yes.
and keep us in bondage. And think about it. Food has always been able to set us free and keep us in bondage via food. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so we I would say that you know, when I do share on platforms, I'm able to then motivate people and encourage people to think differently because you may have been thinking about it one way all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sometimes you have to open your mind to think about something differently. And
Yes.
then you be like, wow, for real, you know? You have an aha moment now.
Okay.
So YFAM is all that. YFAM is that recalibration in your mind as to food, where it comes from, how you can contribute towards it, you know? As they say, you know, a doctor, you might need a doctor, lawyer, engineer. Once in your life, you need a farmer 3 times a day. You know, and people will say that the doctor is more important, the most important profession. And I
Yeah.
say, oh, the farmers just provide food, so you won't have to go to the doctor. You understand? So if you get healthy food from the farmers now, you won't have to go to the doctor,
Ah,
right?
okay, okay.
No, so yeah.
No, I mean, like Alpha, you said a lot, and I mean the idea of Y farms, it sounds immense. I'm just curious, Y farms, is it just happening in Trinidad, or do you all operate out of different Caribbean islands? Because it sounds bigger than it sounds really big, man.
So, well, primarily it's in Trinidad, our core team and everything, but
Yes, yes.
we take on projects across the region and across the world. So from time to time, people will invite myself and my team to
Mm-hmm.
come and do a workshop in our school, to come and do a help with their curriculum, to develop, you know, their modules on entrepreneurship, you know, even universities as well across the region. You know, most recently,
Mm-hmm.
we work with um, the the Polytechnic Institute in Suriname to develop their entrepreneurship program. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and many research should be done via YFAM, and then folks would a lot of times invite us to do a workshop, do a seminar. You know, went to Texas A&M University and did a whole day-long seminar to faculty and students over there, and you know,
Right, so,
graduates.
man, so Y farms is pretty much an authority where agribusiness is concerned right now. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, where agri entrepreneurship is concerned and agri education, well,
Mhm.
agri edutainment. You know,
Wow.
definitely, because we pioneer that. Yeah, we pioneer that, you know.
Well, I mean, here's what I mean. I feel if we continue with this interview, we're going to keep on talking about farming and everything. So I just wanted to just switch a little to talk
Sure.
about the character Agriman. But we're going to revisit farming at some point. I mean, because I myself find it immensely interesting. In terms of the character Agriman, was it created just by yourself, or did you have any other persons contributing towards the character?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, nah, definitely not by myself per se, you know,
Hmm.
because you know, with great ideas like this, there's always people that you lean on when you may have had the aha moment idea in your head, you know.
Hmm.
So my wife, you know, I'll be like, what do you think about a superhero character?
Hmm.
Agriculture, you know? You
Hmm.
call your partner on the phone and they say, boy, what do you think about this thing? But you know, it a Captain Planet. You hear
Hmm.
me good?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. it's a captain, it's a Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, you know. And I remember Captain Planet, watching Captain Planet growing up. I when you look at Captain Planet, you're well sensitized in terms of the environment and literally because you remember the song Captain Planet. He's a hero. He's gonna bring pollution down to zero. So
Yes.
song, in your head. And that may have came off TV when I was about 10 or 12 years, But yeah,
But the
so
impression.
the impression, it lasted. So I was like, so we need something like that for agriculture, My wife is an educator. So she actually started to help me write a storybook. And then somewhere along the line, writing the storybook, I was like, you know what? I feel like if a storybook, like children need to be excited about it first to want to read it. So I felt that I'm not sure if them will let's go to a bookstore and buy a storybook on agriculture. Like there's so much of things to buy, God, and then we're now trying to engage them to be excited about it now.
Yes.
And I was like, I feel a comic book, I feel like, with more graphic and more animation and more storytelling, via a comic book. And then I feel as I remember saying to myself, like, every comic book when I was growing up, I was even no comic book fan, Every comic book, like what I know about is like when you have a comic book, you have a superhero character there, that is what I knew. And maybe my limited knowledge in comic books got me to this point, because, and then I was like, but wait, as I say, it have all these different heroes, but it have no agriman, Yeah, so I mean, I had a great team that helped. I would say further develop it.
Yes.
So while I'm the creator, like for example, I can't draw a stick man to save my life. So I'm not a graphic person at all. So then I had to call an expert to draw up something from it to mock it up. So all these people is people who I would give praise then for contributing towards it now, because without all them energies, sometimes you have an idea and you call the wrong person with the idea. So that I always post that on my social media. Whenever you have a good idea, careful of the first person you tell it to. Because 99% of great ideas die because of the first person to tell the idea to. That person be like, boy, what's tripping is you talking? What is that? Somebody doing that already, and you just get demotivated, and you just get disencouraged, and you forget that. So it's important that we tell that idea to people, and they expand on it. So they give you energy, they give you way, yeah, boy, for real. You know what I mean? So these are folks that need credit, for assisting with the creation of it.
Okay. Just curious, even though you are the creator, I know that there's a different person who authors the comics.
Yeah, quite correct, because we believe that there's people with great expertise who came a long way in doing something. And so we had to explore external expertise to help us to write this now, someone who studied writing literature for children, putting the story, the content in a way that kids could be like, wowed about it. So, we tapped into the expertise of Miss Junan Alkins, who runs the studio, Everything's Like Pepper, right here in Trinidad. And as a matter of fact, I think initially she reached out first. I think she reached out. When it let's connect to something now. She reached out. And then we started talking and realized that, wow, well, she could help build out this thing now. But I know what's something missing because none of the folks on my team have expertise per se in writing children's literature. So we take things very, I mean, as and I think that has helped us gotten this far as well too. So very professional, in terms of the literature, the storytelling, the graphic artists. So we have professional graphic artists who's designing and drawing the panels and stuff for the comics, So so Junan writes. Of course, it's a team effort, Yes. She will sit. She's part of the team now, So she went from being external to internal now, So she will be part of our ideation sessions with some of the other team members if we have a particular topic, and we will kind of go talk it through together, and she will take that information and put pen to paper to make that script, you know. And she's great at doing that. So we love the relationship, and it's a mutual beneficial experience for both parties there.
I mean, it sounds like it sounds like it requires some coordination as well because, I mean, you have the creator, you have the graphic artist, you have the writer, and all of you guys have to come together to put forward this finished product. So, I mean, it sounds like it's something really exciting. What I usually ask a lot of the persons who, in general, they're writers. I mean, I usually ask them about their publishing experience because in some instances, persons have really smooth publishing experiences. What can you say about your publishing experience? Was it seamless, or were there any kind of hiccups that you would have encountered in having AGRIMAN transition from idea to finished product to comic book that a person can hold in their hand?
Well, I'll give this story, like the very, very first book that we did, 2015, when we were launching Y-Farm, October 2015, well, at that time, you're now getting your feet wet.
Yes.
So even Junan didn't come on board yet. I had a friend who was a good graphic artist and never had much experience in comics, but he still tried and we did something. We did a product. But after doing that, after like literally, so like we have the first version. We now ready to like print. We had no more, we had no more, absolutely no money. And I started to like just kind of call around to figure out like how I'm going to do this, asking a print tree, how much you're going to charge to print 500 books, 100 books. And I calling Mr. Mohammed, who runs, one of the persons who run one of the branches of Mohammed's bookstore. And I spoke to him and I was telling him about the project, this comic book, and one of a kind, he's a superhero character, blah, blah. And just so this man out of nowhere, I even think I asked him, he's like, hey, drop your flash drive in my store. I'm going to print 500 copies for you free of charge. Yeah. So he literally was the first person to publish the books, well, printed then. And we used those books that we got, well, sold some, give away some, do marketing, you know what I mean? Like that's, we use it for promotion then. But that literally took us around the world and back. Because it was only after 2018 where we got our second, well, I would call that first one the pilot.
Yes.
And only in 2018 is where we got funding to do the others. But all that time, we were like going around, doing talks all over, going all over, I don't know, as far as Australia, Cameroon, all Asia, all over, literally promoting the work of Y-Farm / AGRIMAN with that first pilot comic book, So this is where again too, as people along the journey who support you in ways that they didn't, he probably didn't even know that what he did there, was so important to getting me to this stage here now, like how much years later. And this AGRIMAN becomes a global project, an award-winning project of many, many, many awards to date and continuing from him saying something that's telling him. And that was the moment to Kevin where I realized that AGRIMAN is going to be something, because that is nothing but God telling you that, hey, I find a way. Well, not that God had to find a way, but that there's a way that to be able to succeed. When you think all hope, when you think there's nothing more left, when you think there's no more hope and that's it, God says, hey, he sends people in your path to give it a help that you need, And that was there. And then, we just been taking the world by storm. So right now we are on our 6th comic book. We have support to do a 7th one, and then also to do 2 activity books. So by the end of the year, we literally have like 10 books published under Y-Farm. So and to further the question about the publishing, we don't use no external publishers. Y-Farm is the publisher. And we go to bookstores all over the country and stuff. It's on Amazon and different online sites. We publish them there and in different stores and stuff like that. But we use our local print tree as well to print them.
My goodness. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm still in shock. I mean, the way that this has unfolded. I mean,
yeah,
anyone who is listening to this right now and who would have heard about the idea that you had and how it
yeah,
is that you brought it to fruition, what
yeah.
advice you have to give to them if it is they say, here's what I want to do what Alpha did, take an idea, bring it to fruition. What advice would you give to them?
You had to work hard. You had to work hard. You had to believe in your idea. You
Yeah.
had to be passionate about it. You had to be able to convince people. Not everybody you will convince. So if you
Yeah.
don't convince Tom, you will convince Harry. If you don't convince Shelley, you
Hmm.
will convince Sherry. You understand? And you will convince them, whether it
Hmm.
may be to give you something, and not everything is about money. There's
Hmm.
a lot of things that people bring to the table that doesn't really it's not cash.
Yeah.
It will equate to cash, the money, but sometimes somebody could just put you on to somebody who you could now get to talk to just so. And that person will help you through XYZ. And
Hmm.
people, you must be authentic. Don't just take some idea that you see abroad and run with and you say, well, I want to do this down here. Be authentic, be original, be creative, but you don't try to copy Alpha, don't try to copy Kevin, be
Hmm.
yourself. Everybody is one. You're not one in a million. It's one in nine in is one in 7 point something billion. You are alone because if there's one in a million, that means it have several people like you. You understand? But you is
Hmm.
one in 7.3 billion, right? 7.4, much more people we are right now on Earth,
Yeah.
right? And be authentic. Find the I in your idea and the you in your uniqueness. Be grounded. Tap into your spirituality. Don't just be living life haphazard. Be purposeful, right? Tap into your purpose before your paycheck. Don't
Yeah.
just look to be you're trying to be paid and you're hustling. That is hustling. Develop a sustainable model for your business and for yourself, for you caring about yourself and the work that you ought to do. Make sure it
Hmm.
is protecting the planet and whatever you're doing and
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, contributing towards people and planets. And always say your prayers. A lot of peace, boy.
A lot, but good piece, man. Good piece. I mean, Alpha, you've given us a lot to think about and a lot to go away with. And it was a pleasure having you on this program at this point in time. I'm really looking forward to any other future collaborations that we can have. But at this time, I think we have to wrap up this session. I mean, but it was a pleasure, and we do look forward to hearing even better things about you, about White Farms, and the impression that you will continue to make.
Thanks for having me. All the very best. I hope that the listeners do enjoy this session. And of course, you can always contact me via YFarmIt. Check out our website at www.yfarmit.org. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Okay. Thank you, Alpha.